Hello there, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Total Ramblings. It's been a while since we've done one of these. We're going to be unboxing this Star Wars Retro Collection set of 6 action figures from Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, or as I know it, Star Wars, because that's what it was called when I saw it in the cinema. Let it go, Andrew, let it go. These are, of course, from Hasbro, branded with the Kenner logo, of course. The classic Kenner logo, the classic company Kenner who produced the original Star Wars action figures in the US in the 1970s. Over here in the UK, Palitoy had the license, and they were just basically, copies of those figures. I believe that the majority of these figures have never been formally released before. I know that people have done customs of them. I know that there are some other sort of fans who can produce copies of who have made versions of these figures, but these are official ones, if you like, from Kenner. You'll see this cost me £61. I got this in the merch store. What's it called in Basingstoke? Can't actually remember the name of it, to be honest. There's a merchandise store. We're lucky enough to have a game store, a comic store called Kushti Comics, and a sort of general kind of geeky merchandise store in Basingstoke, which is good because most shops are kind of closing down. I'm just going to find you the name because it seems only fair. Cool Merch it is. Cool! Exclamation mark merch. Yes. So we have Cool Merch, we have Kushti Comics, we have a gaming shop as well. Anyway, that's by the by. This was £61. You can get it cheaper. I think it's £56 on Amazon at the moment. But, I wasn't quibbling about the price. I was shopping and I saw it. So what we are going to do, first of all, is we are going to crack open this box and we are going to show you the figures on their card backs, and then we are going to open the figures. Yes, I'm a figure opening person. I do not keep things in their boxes. Never have done, probably never will. So without further ado, let's get on with it, shall we? Right, here is our first figure. This is Dr. Evazan. Dr. Evazan, in case you didn't know, is the character who picks a fight with Luke Skywalker in the Mos Eisley Cantina. He is the guy who says, I have the death sentence on 12 systems. And he is with his mate, Ponda Baba, who we also know as Walrus Man, who we will be seeing in just a moment. So here you can see the carded figure. He comes with 2 weapons. I believe one weapon is for him and one weapon is for Ponda Baba. I think it's because Ponda Baba ships with a Stormtrooper blaster, which, of course, is true to the original figure release, but, of course, is not the blaster that he would have had in the actual film itself. So there is Dr. Evazan. We will be having a look at him in a minute once we have opened. I just want to say the card, I mean, obviously it's nice and flat because it's been in the box. I'm not a sort of carded collector. I think the card feels a little bit thicker than previous retro releases, but please don't quote me on that. And yeah, I think it could possibly be a little thicker, but there you go. Next, we have Walrus Man, which is what he was originally branded as in the Kenner line. His real name is Ponda Baba, and he, as I say, he was Dr. Evazan's partner and presumably also has a death sentence in a number of systems. And he's the guy who ends up getting his arm sliced off by Obi-Wan/Ben Kenobi in the Cantina Brawl. Gets his arm sliced off with a lightsaber. He comes with, as I said before, a Stormtrooper blaster. I just want to say I don't have an original Walrus Man to compare this guy with, so this is just a review of this figure as it is. You're not going to be sort of getting a critique from me of how this figure compares to another figure from 50 years ago. Okay, the next figure. Now, I'm going to probably get this wrong. This is Han Solo in Stormtrooper disguise. Stormtrooper outfit, of course. I believe they did a Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper disguise in the 1970s/1980s in the original Kenner lineup. I could be wrong. Please don't shoot me if I'm wrong, but basically this is a figure like Dr. Evazan that was never actually made before. So this is a brand new figure in the Kenner Retro Styly. And you can see that Han Solo comes with a regular Stormtrooper blaster, a Stormtrooper rifle, and of course a Stormtrooper helmet. Okay, next we have Luke Skywalker in his Yavin gear. This is Luke Skywalker as he appeared at the end of Star Wars, after he had been awarded the medal from Princess Leia. So he comes with his yellow jacket, he comes with a blaster, and of course he comes with the medal itself. So I believe this is also possibly a new figure for the Kenner Retro sort of line. Undoubtedly, they've done other figures, but I don't think they did one in this particular range before. But again, happy to be corrected. Now, this was an odd kind of miss, if you like, from the original Kenner line, because these are basically the first guys, apart from C-3PO and R2-D2, that we see in Star Wars. This is a Rebel Fleet Trooper. Now, if ever there was going to be an army builder, this would be him. This would be it, because these are the guys that fought off the Stormtroopers on board the Tantive 4, which was being boarded at the beginning of Star Wars. Of course, they all got... they lost the battle, but, you know, these guys... for a long time, before sort of the Empire Strikes Back kind of came along, these were basically your standard sort of rebel troops, and I'm really surprised that Kenner never did these at the time. If this was a figure that you could sort of bulk buy, I can see people buying lots of them. He's got a weird kind of teal kind of coloured blaster there. And the final figure, which is really cool because you can never have enough Stormtroopers. This is a Sand Trooper. Of course, we see Sand Troopers combing the deserts of Tatooine, looking for the stolen Death Star plans. This guy is, of course, slightly different from the regular Stormtrooper in that he has a shoulder pauldron, he has a big repeating blaster, and of course he has a large backpack which contains his life support slash cooling equipment. Also, I can't help but notice as I look at him in the packet that his left arm is bent. The regular Kenner Stormtroopers, they just kind of had straight arms, really. So there you are in the card backs. We're going to open these up now, and we're going to have a look at them in a little bit more detail. Right, here's Dr. Evazan. I have put the black blaster in his hand. I don't know if that's accurate. Just want to say that you do get a little leaflet in with each of these figures. Probably just like a safety notice kind of thing. Warning, choking hazard, yeah. And basically sort of lots of, you know, registration, not registration, but kind of copyright and trademark kind of stuff. Boring. They all come, unlike the original figures, which just had like a blister and the figure kind of rattled around inside. These days they have like a tray that they sit in. Which is what all the retro figures have come with, and that's kind of what the card back looks like once it's pulled off. I won't be doing that for every single one. So here is Dr. Evazan. Let's bring him forward. So Dr. Evazan has a scarred face, sort of presumably from some kind of fight or laser bolt or something like that. He has purple trousers on. I don't know whether you can see that. It's quite interesting contrast with the sort of tan of his shirt and the brown kind of jacket that he's got on. On the back here, it says, if I can get it the right way round, copyright Lucasfilm Limited, and this is made in Vietnam. Standard sort of 5-point articulation, of course, as were all the original sort of Kenner figures. That's what he looks like with the black blaster in his hand. Let me just put this other one in his hand. And he also looks pretty cool with that one as well, I have to say. So yeah, some very, very slight white paint application there on his sort of blind eye. Bit of black with a bit of white and a pupil on his good eye, so to speak. Yeah, I mean, I think he fits in well with the Kenner aesthetic, if I'm honest with you. That's what you get with Dr. Evazan, is him and the two blasters. And we're just going to get cracking on now with opening the next one, which is going to be Walrus Man. So bear with me one sec while I just remove him from his plastic tomb. So here he is in his wrapping. Sorry, I'm just chasing my pussycat off the top of my light box here. Right, so I'm going to put the Stormtrooper blaster in his hand. And get off there, Ty. Sorry, my cat gets very excited when things are moved around in the living room, especially when I'm doing videos as well, and basically just likes to fart around. So he's choosing right now to fart around. There is Walrus Man, aka Ponda Baba. I mean, as far as I can tell, he looks very similar to the original. I don't have the original, as I've already said to you. He has a funny sort of shaped head, kind of like a sort of flattened sort of egg-shaped head, really. He's got kind of greenish eyes with black pupils. He's got this sort of, I always thought it looked like a bum in his face, to be honest with you. Sort of primary colours, well, not really primary, but orange and blue, kind of opposite colours. And then sort of the webbed feet. I think they might have made the webbed feet up, you know, but also we have the sort of webbed arms. And of course we have the standard Stormtrooper blaster. Now, as I've already said, I'm not sure which blaster he's meant to have. Let's put that one in his hand. Right, you see this one doesn't fit very well, quite loose. So let's assume then it's the black one that he's meant to have in his hand. Again, also loose, not ideal, right? It's quite wibbly wobbly there. So I don't really think they've thought this through, or I just don't think they've sculpted the hands to take any of the blasters that actually come with this entire set, which I have to say seems a bit rubbish, to be honest with you. Whereas you see Dr. Evazan, he holds both blasters fine. Why couldn't they have the hands of Dr. Evazan? Why couldn't they like mold, just have the same hand mold? I realise he's got webbed hands, but you know, there you go. Yeah, so colourful figure, nothing particularly wrong about him apart from the hand, and the only blaster I can get him to hold properly is the Stormtrooper blaster. So, but why they couldn't get the internal dimensions of the hand right, I just don't know. Right, we're going to open up Han Solo in his Imperial Stormtrooper outfit. Now, if you don't remember, and if you don't remember, why not? Basically, some Stormtroopers, the Millennium Falcon has been sucked aboard, tractored aboard the Death Star, and our heroes hide and ambush some Stormtroopers who come aboard and steal their uniforms, and for a while go around dressed as Stormtroopers. Now, I've just taken him out of the packet, and what happened immediately was that I put that gun in his hand and it flew out. Now, this has been a problem with the retro figures, and as we've just seen with Walrus Man, yeah, and he fell over. Of course, this gun does not want to stay in Han Solo's hand. It just falls out. Now, come on, guys. The original figures from 50 years ago did this, were able to do this. Why can't we do this with modern plastics? What is the problem? Anyway, there's your basic Han Solo just spinning around, holding a regular Stormtrooper blaster. So he's got a funny sort of square-shaped head. I realise Kenner originally had problems with Han Solo's head and changed it a few times, but this is not the Han Solo that I remember. Anyway, the usual Stormtrooper colour scheme. He's got a bent right arm. And if I take this blaster out, well, first of all, I'm going to put the helmet on. There he is with the Stormtrooper helmet on. Now that looks pretty good. The original Kenner Stormtroopers, their helmets were kind of moulded to the bodies and they didn't turn. Whereas with this guy, you can actually have a bit of turning action going on with the head. Obviously the head itself turns as well, but you can actually have a Stormtrooper with a little bit of personality, dare I say. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this heavy blaster rifle in Han Solo's hand, and we're going to see how this holds. He might topple over because he might be a bit front heavy. There we go. I think that seems to hold a bit better than the, and also, the stock fits nicely into the sort of crook of his arm, into his sort of bicep there. I quite like that. As a Stormtrooper figure, I like that. I love Stormtroopers because, you know, long live the Empire and all that. I think we could have done with some paint here in the mouth grill. But yeah, all in all, apart from the slightly odd square-shaped head of Han Solo, which, you know, to be honest, the original figure had, I think that's pretty good. But again, he will not hold the Stormtrooper blaster. Is it a problem with the Stormtrooper blaster or is it a problem with the hands? I just don't know. Now opening our next figure. This is Luke in his Yavin outfit. Now what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm just going to show you the figure on his own. He's a bit wobbly. Pretty basic paint scheme there. He's got some yellow striping down his trousers. It looks like one leg is longer than the other. He looks like, yeah, look, I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like his legs aren't on properly. And when you stand him up, he wants to lean to one side. I mean, he stands up okay. Let's have a look at the face, shall we? He looks slightly grumpy here, if I'm honest with you. I don't think the likeness is too bad. Anyway, this is Luke with his medal. He still looks a bit grumpy, but perhaps slightly less so. And then this is the blaster pistol. I believe this is the pistol that Princess Leia came with. I think it's the same design in the original Kenner line. So there is Luke. He's been all medalled up, but for some reason he still feels he needs to hold a blaster in his hands. And to be honest, who can blame him? Because, you know, the Death Star's just been destroyed by him, by the way, and the Empire's going to be pretty peeved and are probably on the way with a massive fleet about to slag Yavin 4 from orbit. That's what I would be doing anyway, if I was the Empire. So yeah. That's 4 open. Excuse me, excuse the coughing, please. The next one, the Rebel Fleet Trooper. God, he's very much jammed inside his tomb here. Okay, now let's just put this blaster in his hand. And it's got quite a long handle, although it appears to be a bit bent in his hand. I seem to remember, he looks a lot like he's holding the blaster like the original Bespin troops. The original Bespin minifigs, they had the same blaster as this, and they could never hold it straight. It was always kind of pointing slightly to the left, as is this guy here. So again, I don't know if it's a problem with the mould of the blaster or whether it's a problem with the hand and the way the hand's been moulded. I just don't know. I'm not an expert on these things. I just kind of collect these things because I like Star Wars. Anyway, there is our Rebel Fleet Trooper. He doesn't look very happy, probably because he spends half of his scenes like this, being escorted around by stormtroopers. Black boots. He looks a lot like the Imperial Death Squad commander / Star Destroyer commander figure, with the sort of style of hat that he's kind of got on here. Kind of frustrating that he can't hold that blaster straight. But I mean, it's almost as if you pay £61 for a set of figures and expect them to work properly. Heaven forbid. Yeah, I'm getting disappointed with these hands and these blasters, if I'm honest with you. Anyway, we're going on to the last figure now. It's the Sand Trooper, everybody. He has been freed from the card back. And I'm just going to take... Okay, this is going to look a bit weird. He shouldn't really be holding his repeating blaster like this. But what else can you do? There we go. As you can see, he's got a backpack. He's got sort of ammunition kind of pouch on his left shoulder. And on the right shoulder, he has a rank pauldron. I can't remember what the colours are. If I'm honest with you, I should probably hand in my Star Wars card. In the film, they had black, grey and orange. I think orange... Wasn't that like a sergeant or a commander or something? I honestly don't remember. I'm sorry, I apologise. Anyway, this card back actually is thicker than I thought. It is quite thick. Just have a... Yeah. I take it back what I said about the card. This is much thicker than it was, and it actually feels quite nice. Anyway, there is our Sand Trooper. Now, if we just compare the helmet to the admittedly removable one from Han Solo, you'll notice the Han Solo helmet is missing a couple of paint details. The Sand Trooper has a blob of black paint on the sides here, and also on the sort of the tear ducts here, which Han Solo doesn't have. It is a different mould, of course, as well. The Sand Trooper's head, it isn't moulded in, but it won't turn very far because you've got these things kind of stopping it, restricting it from moving. It is a different mould. The legs are totally different, so they haven't just reused the same mould. This guy looks a lot more slender than Han Solo in his in the same sort of gear. There is the back of the sort of life support pack. And here is the repeating blaster with its sort of twin kind of gas magazines here, I suppose. Yeah, so let's just stand him up again. Obviously, another potential army builder, because, you know, if you're going to have troops combing the desert looking for droids, you need more than one. There's nothing more I'd love than well, I say nothing more. There's many things that I would like, but I would love to have a sort of complete, a massive army of Kenner stormtroopers. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? When I was a kid, I only had 2 stormtroopers, and my mum wouldn't let me buy any more. It's kind of a similar story with Space Lego, right? I wanted to buy another, I think it was LL918, which I regarded as the fighter craft of the sort of space base that I was building, and I always wanted another one because you need more than one interceptor, right? And she wouldn't let me have it because she said I already had one. So where's the justice in that? You know, if you're going to try and man an interplanetary defense force, then you kind of need you need troops and you need fighters, don't you? Yes? Please support me in this. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. I'm just going to put these figures here. So, there are all the figs, plus a couple of extra guns that you get. I mean, it's a nice set. Price, I guess, is okay. If only they would hold their guns properly. The Rebel Fleet Trooper doesn't hold his gun straight. Walrus Man can't hold either of the 2 pistols that come with the set, but is quite happy holding the Stormtrooper blaster. And both the Stormtrooper style figs won't hold the Stormtrooper blaster either, which is a bit weird. Luke's holding his blaster quite well, and Dr. Everson's holding his blaster quite well, and Walrus Man holds the Stormtrooper blaster quite well. So it can be done, guys. It can be done. Also, look at Dr. Everson. He's wobbling. I think he's getting the delirium tremors actually, because I think he's probably an alcoholic, which may be why he was in the cantina in the first place. And I think he might be itching for a drink. I don't know. I just don't know. Anyway, that is my half-assed review of the Star Wars New Hope Retro Collection 2025. I've just made him turn by putting the box in the way. I realise this has not been a very good review, but, you know, I just buy these things because I like them. I'm not really a collector of Star Wars action figures. I kind of have like a small Imperial army. I like to buy stormtroopers and Imperial officers and stuff like this. But I have been buying the retro collection, although they are sometimes very hard to find here in the UK. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Total Ramblings. Please join me for the next one, whatever it may be. Bye bye.